Dr. Loraine Day did something most people have not had the courage to do. When diagnosed with cancer, she decided to heal herself without the aid of the medical community. What makes this story particularly interesting is that she herself is a highly respected orthopedic surgeon. Instead, after 30 years as an agnostic, she turned to belief in an ancient recipe for health from the Old Testament after she learned that the cancer had spread. So let's start a little bit with your own story and how you ended up where you are today. And some of it was pretty trying, physically and otherwise.
Well, that's right. I developed cancer. University. He didn't think it was cancer either. I had it done under local. But then he called me a few days later and said that not only did I have cancer, but there were not clear margins. It had already spread into my chest wall. So I had another biopsy. At that time, I actually thought, you can cut cancer out. Now I know you cannot cut cancer out and get rid of it that way, because all the factors that allowed the cancer to develop are still present in your body unless you change the way you're eating and living and everything about your life. Radiation. Well, the interesting thing is both of my surgeons were personal friends. One was that I knew in college, and the other one was a resident with me at UC San Francisco. And they thought I had lost my mind because I said, I'm not doing chemo, I'm not doing radiation. And they said, why not? And I said, well, chemotherapy is poison. And I said, you and I were both taught that chemotherapy causes cancer. I said, every doctor knows that. The patients don't know that. The patients are all surprised when I say, chemotherapy causes cancer. And they'd say, my doctor wouldn't give me something that causes cancer when I already have cancer. And I say, yes, they would, because they don't know what else to do. I didn't know exactly what to do at the beginning, but I did know that I had to change my diet to a totally vegan diet, because during the time I had my radio show, I had been going around the country interviewing people I had heard had gotten well by natural methods from cancer. This was before I knew I had cancer. And so one thing that all of them had done was change to a totally vegan vegetarian diet, which means no animal products, no meat, poultry, fish, dairy, eggs, anything like that. So I changed again. The lump was small, very small at first, but obviously it wasn't all removed because I did not have clear margins. Alternatives, I tried over 40, and none of them worked. So I then I had started studying the Bible, and let me say right off the bat, I'm not into organized religion, and I believe that Christianity is not a religion, it's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And I had been an agnostic for virtually all of my adult life, but at this point, I knew everything every other doctor knew, and I knew that regular medicine could not get me well. Again, I refused chemo, I refused radiation, I wouldn't get involved with any of those, and I knew that it is meant to heal itself. If you get a cut, it will heal unless you have destroyed your immune system so much with the way you live or chemotherapy or anything else like that, or if you dig it open every day, or if you put dirt in it. But you have to do something traumatic to the cut on your hand to keep it from healing. The body is meant to heal. Do conventional medicine. So God impressed on my mind a way to stay alive during that night. And I know what people look like when they're dying, and I knew that I was dying. But I held true, and I said, I'm not going to do it man's way. I'm going to do it God's way. And the way I got well was with all things that are natural, the things that God has created in their most natural form, and it's all free except for food, and you have to buy that anyway. And that's the way God would do it. He would make it so everybody has access to the way to get well. But you see, what man has done is he has taken over medicine, which we'll talk about later, and made it into a very expensive thing and said, in order for you to get well, you've got to come to us and pay big money. I stayed on the same diet. The diet was not a juice diet. I drank a lot of juices, 13 fresh homemade vegetable juices, 12 vegetable juices, and 1 fruit juice every day in between meals. I ate all natural food, 3 meals a day, because people are always saying, well, you went on a juice diet. No, I did not. The juice is to get huge amounts of nutrition into you in a form where your body doesn't have to spend energy digesting it. But I got my fiber and all from eating 3 regular meals a day. But I found out
to eat again.
Yes, after several days after I went through this crisis period, I was able to start drinking first and then eating. And then I realized, I searched not only the Bible, I went to the Bible to see what was the original diet given in the Garden of Eden, which was a totally natural vegan diet. Sugar and caffeine and all of the MSG and NutraSweet and all of these damaging things that are in the diet, and I ate only food in its natural form, which I still do. And I also realized that you have to have peace in your life. And as I said, it starts in the heart, and you have to learn to forgive everyone who's ever wronged you. They've done studies at Stanford showing the enormous significance of forgiveness and how it changes your vital signs, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your adrenaline production, and all of that, when you harbor grudges or you're angry at someone. And so you cannot get well from mental illness or physical illness if you're holding on to grudges or you're angry. In fact, the medical literature shows that 50% of all heart attacks occur after an episode of anger. And so if you don't get rid of that anger, you cannot get well. And the plan is the proper nutrition, exercise. Water is extremely important. The body is 75% water, the brain is 85% water. And it's not 85% Coke or Pepsi or any of those things, not milk, it's water. And we lose 10 glasses of water every day just by living. And if we don't replace those, or if we drink caffeine or caffeinated soda or alcohol or any of those things that dehydrate our body, we will lose even more water. You can't do that. And so I started drinking huge amounts of water. And when I did, things started changing. Months, all of my cancer was gone. So we have nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, which is elimination of all of these things that are in your diet and that you want to get rid of, and then rest, proper rest at the proper time of night, because the healing hormones are produced between 10 p.m. and 2 o'clock in the morning, but you have to be asleep. And so people think, well, I can go to bed at 12 and get up at 8. No. We are meant really to start slowing down and going to bed when the sun goes down. We are meant to do that. And if we disobey these rules, you see, there are rules necessary, but it's so much better life. I don't have any arthritis. I don't take any pills. I don't have any fatigue syndrome. And here I am getting close to 70 years old, and I'm just as healthy as I was when I was 25. So why not live that way? It's worth it.